Do we really need to buy all that wrapping paper? It's so pretty, but also so wasteful. Why not try using fabric instead? It has beautiful designs, it's reusable, and will give you a chance to practice your machine quilting. In this series, you'll learn how to make these quilted gift bags for your family while practicing machine quilting. You'll get instructions for straight line quilting and for free motion quilting. Finally, you'll get some other tips on how to repurpose fabric items for wrapping. Ready to begin? As I said earlier, this is a great project for practicing your quilting skills. It's also a good way to try out new thread, batting, and quilting designs in small scale before tackling a larger project. Just remember, every time you make a bag, that's one less present to wrap with wrapping paper, and you'll be one step closer to perfecting your quilting. To make these quilted bags, I use about a half of a yard for the top and a half a yard for the lining. But you can make it any size. Just make sure to press all your fabric before starting. You'll want to cut the back and the batting a little bit larger than the top in order to have something to hold on when quilting these edges. You might be wondering why you need this backing when you have this lining. Well, you really don't have to use this. But I find that if I just quilt this top and batting, then this batting rubs against the feed dogs, and the fuzz or the lint from this ends up inside my machine. This backing acts as a filter and keeps a lot of that fuzz or lint out of your machine. For this bag, I just marked lines and used my walking foot for straight line quilting. Mark a quilting line down the center. I use this marking pen to make this line that'll disappear when I hit it with a hot dry iron. After I stitch this line using my walking foot, I'll use this attachment as a guide for stitching 1.5 inches over, so I don't have to spend time drawing any more lines. Layer the top, batting, and backing, and then baste the layers in position using your favorite method. I like to use safety pins for my basting, but you might like to try one of these spray adhesives. I'll be using my walking foot attachment for this straight line quilting. I have the same color of thread in the bobbin as on the top, but this is not necessary. I like to use a little bit longer stitch length because I think it makes it easier to correct mistakes if the fabric bunches up on the back. You won't see the back when making these bags, but it's a good practice for when you start working on a larger quilt. Start in the middle of the piece. I've rolled up this side to make it easier to get through the machine. Hold on to both of your threads and begin stitching. I like to clip those threads right away. Use your hands as an embroidery hoop. Start stitching and then stop to reposition your hands. Make sure that the needle is in the down position when you stop. Some machines have a setting that you can utilize to keep it in that position, or you can just crank your wheel to get it in that down position, and then continue stitching on that line. Now this piece isn't that big, and I'm not really having a hard time with things moving around, but if this was a little bit larger, I find it hard to grip the fabric with my hands. You can buy a specially made quilter's glove to help with your grip, or you can use rubber gloves, or I like to use these little, I call them page turners. You can buy them at an office supply store. Fit on your fingers. The gloves bother me when I'm quilting, so this gives me just enough grip to hold on to that fabric as it goes through the machine. It also allows me to take these safety pins out a little bit easier. So when you come upon a safety pin, you want to stop, remove that pin, reposition your hands, and continue on. After I quilted the first line, I like to use this attachment as a guide for quilting the rest of the lines. I've measured over 1.5 inches from the quilted line to my needle. I'll just keep this attachment on the quilted line until I finish this piece. When I get to the edge, I just continue on. You might have noticed that I've left this selvage on. It gives me a little extra to hold on to when I'm quilting. I'll trim this later. When I've quilted all the lines to the right of the center, I flip the piece around. Then I quilt the other half. Trim off the excess batting and backing. After everything's been trimmed, I need to remove this line. So I just use a hot, dry iron. It just goes away like magic. Here's a better look at these friction pens. Below you'll find more information about these pens. I cut my lining the same size as the quilted top. Put right sides together and then stitch a 1/4 inch seam down the sides. Put right sides together on your lining, stitch a 1/4 inch seam on this side. On the other side, you'll also stitch a 1/4 inch seam, but stop about 5 to 6 inches before the bottom. You'll need this opening for turning. Turn the quilted bag inside out. Place the bag inside the lining. Make sure that the right sides are together. Line up the side seams and pin. Continue pinning all the way around the edge. I stitched the 1/4 inch seam all the way around the edge. Now I'm ready to turn this inside out through that opening. You'll end up with something that looks like this. Just take that lining, push it inside the bag, and take your bag to the ironing board and press this edge. I top stitched about 1/4 inch to 3/8 of an inch around the edge, put my gift inside, and finished with the ribbon. After the family opens their gifts, put the ribbon inside and store away until your next celebration. These bags also make nice pillow covers. Just add the pillow, tie with a ribbon, and presto, you have a cute Christmas decoration. That also works well as a hostess gift. Hope you get a chance to make one of these gift bags. In the next video, you'll learn how to get started with free motion quilting. You'll see how to use your darning foot attachment to doodle a quilting design on fabric. Thanks for visiting LearnHowToQuilt.com. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and sign up for updates and free patterns at our website. Happy quilting!